Hello everyone, my part is definition and interpretation of sociological and healthy aspect of housing. Okay, let's check it out. Okay, definition of housing. Housing is more than just a building or shelter. It includes the environment that supports daily life and social well-being. WHO defined housing as one of the basic conditions for human health and safety. In short, housing is both of the social product as a human needed. Okay, this part about sociological definition of housing. From the sociological view, housing reflects the people position in society. It shows difference in income, class, and culture. Housing also influences how family living and how communities connection. It's based where social life and identify shaped house and can relieve the social pattern who lives well and why is closely tied to culture and family life. Okay, about these slides, I will talk about housing definition of housing. The housing expert focus on how housing affects physical and mental health. The poor housing can cause illness, stress, and accidents. And good housing provides light, ventilation, safe safety, and comfort. So, healthy house help people live in the security and peace of mind. All right, about this part, I will talk about interpretation, connecting sociology and health. Housing connects social well-being with healthy income. Social inequality often leads to the housing inequality through the housing. So good housing supports stability, safety, and strong communities. The sociological and healthy experts should be understood together.
Moving into part 2 of our presentation, we will dive into the core issues that tie housing to its sociological and health dimensions. Housing isn't just a physical structure, it's a social determinant of health, as the WHO highlights, and its quality and accessibility shape our well-being in profound ways. Let's break down these critical issues one by one. First, let's map out the key issue we will cover. The WHO states that housing is a social determinant of health, and it's reflected in how housing quality impacts physical, mental, and social well-being. Poor housing conditions drive disease, stress, and social inequality, with 5 main pain points. Poor physical housing condition, overcrowding, housing affordability stress, homelessness and social exclusion, and inadequate housing for aging populations. These issues are interconnected and create a ripple effect across social and health outcomes. Next, let's start with the poor physical housing condition and their direct physical health risks. Dampness, mold, and poor ventilation trigger asthma and respiratory illness, especially in children. The WHO found that the kids in damp home are 25 to 50% more likely to develop respiratory problems, and mold in low-cost housing is directly into higher childhood asthma causes. Lack of sanitation or clean water lead to the infectious disease, while unsafe structural condition or fire hazard cause injuries and even deaths. These aren't just a housing problem, they are public health crises. Housing affordability, stress, and overcrowding fuel social inequality. Rising housing price and rent places massive financial burdens on households, leading to housing insecurity. Families are forced into smaller or shared space, which cause stress, privacy loss, sleep disturbance, and family conflicts. For children, this means poor study environment and stunted development. Low-income families are trapped in low-quality housing and neighborhoods, making housing a marker of social class and perpetuating a cycle of poverty that's hard to break. Finally, homelessness is one of the most severe outcomes of housing failure, and it hits vulnerable groups that hardest. The homeless face extreme health risks, malnutrition, chronic illness, injury, and high rates of mental health disorder and addiction. They also have limited access to health care, safety, and dignity. Vulnerable groups include the elderly, people with a disability, migrants, and single-parent family, those less able to cope with housing instability. This creates a vicious circle. Homelessness leads to poor health, which then deepens social exclusion, making it even harder to escape homelessness.
This part is a case example. First, the traditional wooden houses that are really cramped because of the old colonial land policies. Low-income people are pushed to the side. The living conditions are bad, and that causes both physical health problems and mental stress. And there's Japan's silver housing. It's made for the aging society with age-friendly designs. It lets the elderly stay in their familiar communities and feel like they belong. And it also cuts down on health risks. And in Hong Kong, there are subdivided flats and cage homes. There's a huge shortage of housing, so low-income people are stuck in tiny spaces. This not only makes social inequality worse, but also leads to physical and mental health issues. Housing isn't just a place to live, it shows what the social structure is like, and it affects people's health. To fix these problems, building affordable housing, renovating old houses, and improving community are the key steps.
Part 4 International Perspective. From a global perspective, housing is a common issue across different countries and cultures. Its quality, space, and community environment are deeply linked to public health and social cohesion. In terms of health, housing has a big effect on people's health. In Northern Europe, those make sure homes have enough sunlight and fresh air. This helps lower the number of people getting sick. In developing countries, slums are often very crowded and lack clean conditions. This makes it easier for infections to spread. Many countries also create housing to meet special health needs. For example, Japan builds homes without steps for easier movement, and Germany has homes designed for several generations to live together. This kind of housing supports health at every age. At the societal level, housing helps connect people and building an inclusive society. In Singapore, public housing areas use mixed residential planning and shared space, which encourage neighbors to help each other. In some cities of America, however, housing separation has made class division worse. As cities around the world grow, the problem of housing being too expensive in big cities can also break apart community networks and affect social stability. The United Nations Human Settlements Program has promoted the Everyone Has Access Adequate Housing initiative, which demonstrates that although countries have different solutions due to varying levels for development, high-quality, fair, and inclusive housing is a common pursuit for improving public health and social harmony.
Okay, so next part is part 5, the Malaysia scenario. Actually, the overview the housing in Malaysia, we can find that the historical policy pressures and the high home ownership rate. The national maintains one of the highest ownership rates in South Asia, reaching approximately 17.6 to the 77% in the 2019, and reflecting both policy effort and the cultural preference for the owning homes, and the need for the balanced development Malaysia faces the dual challenges of the sustaining economic housing growth while the ensuring equitable access and livable standards for all income segments, balancing economic, social, and health dimensions of the housing development, and the sociological dimensions of the housing. For first of all, it's social stratification. Housing that reflects class divisions gate communities with low cost effects and the community coherence. Urbanization weakens and the neighborhood ties and the cultural preference, the home ownership, stability, and the success, and the urban-rural divide. And the last one is the migration, urban migration, called social displacement, and the health aspects of the housing in Malaysia. Poor ventilation and overcrowding in PPR flex will contribute to the respiratory illness, and lack of the green open space affect the physical and the material well-being, and the important waste management due the outbreaks and the psychological stress from the unsafe or poorly maintained housing, and health housing is still not systematically addressed in the national design policies. And the challenges in the inequalities, the Malaysia housing the sector faces the major challenges, especially like the affordability as the urban property prices rise faster than the household incomes. Many B40 uh, families earning the PPR housing but still struggle in the poor maintenance and the unsafe living conditions. The retail market lacks of the strong tenant protection and housing options for the early remain limited. Moreover, cyclical um, strugglation keeps low-income communities from jobs and the transport. The part 6 is about the key organizations supporting the housing and health. Overview of the key organizations we can find that the Ministry of the Housing and the Local Government and the PR1MA Corporation Malaysia and the Kazaha Research Institute and the Malaysia Red Crescent Society and the local NGOs community housing initiatives. So the Ministry of the Housing and the Local Government is the main policymaker of the housing and urban well-being, and oversees national housing policy and low-cost house programs, and promotes livable cities, health communities, and concepts. Collaborate with local councils and on sanitation, infrastructure, and green areas. And the PR1MA Corporation Malaysia, established under the One Malaysia People's Housing Program, and provides affordable homes for the affordable group, and cooperates strategic local near the transport and the community facilities, and improves ventilation, safety, and the community design for the better living. Okay, that's all for our PowerPoint. Thank you.